Hello everyone, right next to me is the all-new 2025 Citroen C5 Aircross. Now I'm going to be very honest. Lately I've had this impression that Citroen has been losing its charm, and that's not entirely the brand's fault. That's also because in Stellantis a lot of things have been going on, and to be fair, in the Volkswagen Group it's a similar case where there's too much part sourcing, too much sharing of similarity in design. Now I looked at the exterior of the Citroen C5 Aircross, and I have to say that the previous generation had a more Citroen-ish identity to it. Whereas looking at this, already I can tell it shares the same wheels as the Opel Grandland. This all-new Citroen C5 Aircross is directly related to the Peugeot 3008 and also the Opel Grandland. Now this particular Citroen C5 Aircross costs 43,000 euros, which is why I compared it with the Volkswagen Tiguan, the Toyota RAV4 and the Hyundai Tucson, all of which have a price that have increased over the years. Whereas when it comes to Stellantis, they've been offering great value for money in terms of size, in terms of equipment, but then there's always been something else, everyone. Maybe they never enjoyed the same level of reliability compared to the Japanese competitors, but at the same time, they did have the better and desirable styling compared to the Volkswagen Group. Imagine this, you're paying 43,000 euros for a car with an interior that looks far more interesting and expensive than that of a Skoda. Wow, look at this! This is something only Lamborghinis would get in the Volkswagen Group. This interior looks like that of a concept car, something you will never or at least rarely see in the Volkswagen Group and in Toyota to some extent. Although here's something I'm starting to find a bit generic. Two-spoke steering wheel, big screen over here in the middle, and sharp edges at certain areas. It kind of reminds me of the things I've seen in EV cars, like BYD and Tesla. Now don't forget to push the subscribe button, watch this video till the end, and check the link in the description for my other car reviews on YouTube of other Citroen models, and of course my car reviews of other Stellantis SUVs related to this Citroen C5 Aircross. First, I want to start with the front design. Something about the front design reminds me of the Peugeot partner from the 1990s, or should I say early 2000s, when they had this angry looking front and everything. Now, this is not a grille at all, and I've noticed this with the Peugeot PSA Group cars lately, and you get a 360-degree parking camera. Now, this is quite rare to see on a crossover SUV of this segment for a price of 43,000 euros. So in this sense, Citroen is already being generous. One thing to have a rolling work of art, but then I have to also wonder what's with this area over here, and why is there this design? It has me thinking it's a sensor of some sort. I have to say they did a brilliant job maintaining the cross-country theme on the Citroen C5 Aircross, thanks to the hard plastic you see over here and then over here. Now, the reason why the hard plastic would be elevated right here, my theory would be to protect the body paint from the mud splash. Now, to have this design over here, it's not exactly the first time Citroen has had something like this. In fact, they did have something like this all the way back in the 1970s on the Citroen Ami. Now, can you believe this? On Citroen's biggest luxury models, like the Citroen DS and the Citroen SM, they never had fenders like this, like what you'd see on American cars, like the Cadillacs or the Lincolns. So I'm a bit surprised with the idea of employing those kind of fenders or those kind of, I don't know, wings or so. I don't know what we would call this. To employ this on a crossover SUV is very unheard of. It's very unusual, but in a very nice way, actually. I'm trying to wonder what's happening over here. Did somebody lose their comb? Now, something I found a bit interesting. I don't know if this is supposed to be questionable or if this is something that's admirable, but onto the side over here, you get the cross-country trim with the hard plastic. Then over here, you get this piano black trim that looks pleasant. But then I also wonder, why not have this piano black trim over wherever you have the hard plastic? Interior of the Citroen C5 Aircross. One thing I have to say is that the equipment list is almost comparable to that of a luxury car. Both front seats are electrically adjustable, leather seats, everyone, that looks stylish. And if I were blindfolded, I were to sit on them right now, I'd probably be assuming they're from a Maybach. Well, okay, maybe the headrest would not be comparable to that of a Maybach, but you get the idea. The steering wheel is actually very pleasant to hold on to. I like it. But having a two-spoke and the way it's designed, I'm not a fan of its design. Although, there's something very interesting I observed. You see the straight line over here they employed? it kind of reminds me of the Citroen DS, because I know Citroen DS released a facelift during the 70s, or I think it was in the very late 60s, and through that facelift they had this straight design like this. So I'm thinking it could be a reference to the DS. Now maybe it is, maybe it isn't, I'm not sure, because lately many car manufacturers have been also drawing too much inspiration from each other. I know the Volkswagen Group has been obsessing with this straight design where you have the air vents and everything. And over here, which has become very typical of what I've seen on EV cars, as I mentioned earlier. Like right now, it looks as if I'm sitting in a BYD or in something like Hongqi or some sort, you know what I'm saying? And or even MG of these days. They have the wireless telephone recharge, your transmission over here. That's nice, but you know where they kept the cup holders? They kept the cup holders all the way down there. Now, when it comes to cup holders, the PSA Group have had a curse of never having the most interesting positions for cup holders. And I can confirm this because, oh my goodness, it's like anytime I see a Peugeot or a Citroen, their cup holders are not exactly the most interesting. And then instrument cluster is very tiny. They kept it like all the way buried there. Oh my goodness. And then all that fabric material, it's nice, squidgy, great, pleasant, but at the same time, oh, it's so cute. And then putting your arm here onto this fabric, it's nice, but then on a hot day, you just have to be careful, guys, because on a hot day, you can feel like you're wearing a sweater or something. Now, over here, you get your central console storage. That's good. Now, I have to wonder, what's with this cup holder over here? Or is it storage space? Not sure. And then you get your door bin, which is good, okay, but it's not very deep, guys. That's it. It's short. And your window controls are very different. Like, the way they've designed this area is cool. It looks nice. It looks concept. But then, I mean, it's to put the window buttons right onto the area where I'd pull the door. It's not my favorite concept. And I had the same thing to say about Mercedes, because I know Mercedes has been obsessing with this. Now, I get glasses holders. That's something I like. And I get a panoramic sunroof. So 43,000 euros, this interior is beyond great value for money. It's awesome. It's really good how they've gone about it. I'm quite impressed. And then if you push the stop button, you get those LED lights that brighten up and then brighten up this entire interior. Gosh, I feel like I'm in Paris right now. Now, looking at the rear seats of the Citroen C5 Aircross, at first it felt like I'm looking at a sofa. I mean, look at this. It's all singular. There's no split seating almost, as if it's great. And the way it's styled is very similar to what I've seen in ancient Citroen models. I know the Citroen CX had a similar stitching like this in the middle. It's very nice. Let's have a seat. Let's see if it really feels like a sofa. And oh my goodness, I spoke too soon because it does feel like a sofa. Wow, this is very pleasant. And you get your armrest over here, but the armrest, there's no strap to pull it down. So it's a bit of a struggle, you see. Oh my goodness. But then as soon as it's down, it's quite pleasant. You get this 2 cup holders, little storage space, and it's air vents over here, 12-volt socket down there, charging ports. That's very, very pleasant, actually, guys. And my legroom is good, although it's a bit on the limited side. Knee room is good. Headroom is good, although the headrest is a bit on the firm side. It's like a brick wall almost. It's quite interesting. And it's the rear seats are very comfortable, and with this beige interior, it actually brightens up the ambience over here. It feels like as if I'm in a Maserati or something. And I don't know why I just said Maserati. Maybe it's because of my experience with the Maserati Grecale Folgore. And it's funny I say this because it's also Stellantis. It's all part of Stellantis. So maybe they have some Maserati twist in this car. Some... That's funny. You do know that Citroen actually owned Maserati back in the 70s. So I don't know if it's a coincidence I just mentioned Maserati. Now over to the boot space of the Citroen C5 Aircross. Over here you get an adjustable floor, and there's more storage space underneath. And that's about it, everyone. It's a flat floor over here with a durable material for protection, which is great, but then the body paint sticks out on the edge over here, so you just need to watch out for it in long terms. And then I just noticed you get a 12-volt socket over there, and you get 12 points onto this side. Although when it comes to practicality, it is true the Stellantis, they're not exactly on par with the Volkswagen Group, but they are not very far either. I mean, look at this, it's great. I'm quite impressed, and I like the volume space you get. If you remove this, you can get additional volume above. It's wonderful. So here's my conclusion of the Citroen C5 Aircross. Right now, I think the Hyundai Tucson should be very worried because this has to be the first time I've seen a great value for money crossover SUV in ages. 43,000 euros, something that's not even electric, and yet it is beyond well equipped. It is beyond good value for money. In fact, it's very rare I use the word perfect value for money, but that's in terms of equipment, guys, compared to the Toyota RAV4, which has its reliability, the Volkswagen Tiguan, which has its quality, and then of course the Hyundai Tucson, which is, I mean, both qualitative, reliable, and at the same time was good value for money until this guy showed up. But then on the other hand, it's not all pink roses. Looking at the Citroen C5 Aircross, I already knew there were going to be some problems, such as a bit of an identity crisis. For instance, at first glance, I already saw the wheels and I could tell it was related to the Peugeot. I could tell it was related to the Opel Grandland. And then secondly, lately Citroen has been losing its charm in terms of its design. There was a time Citroen had something interesting going on. That was all the way back until the 1970s. But then since the 70s, something has changed completely. And so looking at the exterior of this Citroen C5 Aircross, I'm starting to get the impression it has a generic image, something very similar to what I've seen of certain EV car manufacturers, especially those from China, Japan, and South Korea. And now when it comes to the interior, it is true that lately Citroen has become obsessed with this concept car style design for their interior, and so has Peugeot. They always have this flamboyant interior design. Now, in terms of value for money, it is well equipped. I have no questions over there. So don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more videos that are on the run, and check the link in the description for my car reviews on YouTube. Car reviews of other Citroen models and the competitors of this Citroen C5 Aircross. All right, I will see you all next time.